Hello everybody, Jade Hamilton here, and today I'm going to do two things. I'm going to introduce you to Arabella, who is my tallest cub. She's 19 inches, and she was going on eBay for the princely sum of 99 pence plus postage. And nobody was taking her, so I thought, let me take her. She's a little bit overawed by everything at the moment. She's kind of wondering who everybody is and what she's supposed to be doing, how it all works. But I thought to try and settle her in a little bit, we do one of the things that I love to do on this channel, which is read stories. And I've got a bit of a corker today because some of my lovely people in the comments loved Dirty Beast so much. We're going to share its opposite number with you today. The companion piece of Dirty Beast, which, as some of you may know, is Revolting Rhymes. I'm going to start with the first poem, which is Cinderella. If I can get it to load. I'm going to start at the beginning, which is quite unusual for me. And we're starting with the first poem, as I say, sorry, getting old and repeating myself, which is Cinderella. It's finally loaded, you'll be pleased there. I'm using a Kindle copy, and as per all videos where I read, all copyright goes to Roald Dahl, Quentin Blake and Puffin. I own absolutely nothing. This is just for enjoyment. I guess you think you know this story. You don't. The real one's much more gory. The phony one, the one you know, was cooked up years and years ago and made to sound all soft and sappy just to keep the children happy. Mind you, they got the first bit right. The bit where, in the dead of night, the ugly sisters, Jules and all, departed for the palace ball, while darling little Cinderella was locked up in a slimy cellar, where rats who wanted things to eat began to nibble at her feet. Oh, that doesn't sound very nice, does it, Arabella? No. Do you think Cinderella needs some help? Yeah. Well, let's see if somebody comes to help her over the page. She bellowed, "Help! And let me out!" The magic fairy heard her shout. Appearing in a blaze of light, she said, "My dear, are you all right?" "All right!" cried Cindy. "Can't you see? I feel as rotten as can be." She beat her fist against the wall and shouted, "Get me to the ball! There is a disco at the palace. The rest have gone and I am jealous. I want a dress, I want a coach, and earrings and a diamond brooch and silver slippers, 2 of those, and lovely nylon pantyhose. Done up like that, I guarantee a handsome prince will fall for me." The fairy said, "Hang on a tick." She gave her wand a mighty flick, and quickly, in no time at all, Cindy was at the palace ball. It made the ugly sisters wince to see her dancing with the prince. She held him very tight and pressed herself against his manly chest. The prince himself was turned to pulp. All he could do was gasp and gulp. Then midnight struck. She shouted, "Heck! I've got to run to save my neck!" The prince cried, "No! Alas! Alack!" He grabbed her dress to hold her back, and Cindy shouted, "Let me go!" The dress was ripped from head to toe. She ran out in her underwear and lost one slipper on the stair. The prince was on it like a dart. He pressed it to his pounding heart. "The girl whose this slipper fits," he cried, "tomorrow morn shall be my bride. I'll visit every house in town until I've tracked the maiden down." Then, rather carelessly, I fear, he placed it on a crate of beer. At once, one of the ugly sisters, the one whose face was blotched with blisters, sneaked up and grabbed the dainty shoe and quickly flushed it down the loo. Then in its place she calmly put the slipper from her own left foot. Aha! You see, the plot grows thicker, and Cindy's luck is looking sicker. Next day the prince went charging down to knock on all the doors in town. In every house the tension grew. Who was the owner of the shoe? The shoe was long and very wide. A normal foot got lost inside. Also it smelled a wee bit icky. The owner's feet were hot and sticky. Thousands of eager people came to try it on, but all in vain. Now came the ugly sisters' go. One tried it on. The prince screamed, "No!" But she said, "Yes, it fits! Whoopee! So now you've got to marry me." The prince went white from ear to ear. He muttered, "Let me out of here." "Oh, no, you don't. You've made a vow. There's no way you can back out now." "Off with her head," the prince roared back, then chopped it off with one big whack. This pleased the prince. He smiled and said, "She's prettier without her head." Then up came sister number 2, who yelled, "Now I will try the shoe." "Try this instead," the prince yelled back. He swung his trusty sword and smack! Her head went crashing to the ground. It bounced a bit and rolled around. In the kitchen, peeling spuds, Cinderella heard the thuds of bouncing heads upon the floor, and poked her own head round the door. "What's all the racket?" Cindy cried. "Mind your own biz," the prince replied. Poor Cindy's heart was torn to shreds. "My prince," she thought, He chops off heads. How can I marry anyone who does that sort of thing for fun? The prince cried, "Who's this dirty nut? Off with her nut, off with her nut." Just then, all in a blaze of light, the magic fairy hove in sight. Her magic wand went swoosh and swish. "Cindy," she cried, "come make a wish. Wish anything, and have no doubt that I can make it come about." Cindy answered, "Oh, kind fairy, this time I shall be more wary. No more princes, no more money. I've had my taste of honey. I'm looking for a decent man. They're hard to find. Do you think you can?" Within a minute, Cinderella was married to a lovely fella, a simple jam maker by trade, who sold good homemade marmalade. Their house was filled with smiles and laughter, and they lived happy ever after. I'm going to skip ahead a bit. I will come back in later videos to some of the other poems in this because they're all brilliant. But I'm going to skip ahead to my absolute favourite one. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Appropriately enough, it's Goldilocks and the Three Bears. This famous wicked little tale should never have been put on sale. It is a mystery to me why loving parents cannot see that this is actually a book about a brazen little crook. Had I the chance, I wouldn't fail to clap young Goldilocks in jail. Just imagine how you'd feel if you had cooked a lovely meal. Delicious porridge, steaming hot. That's one of Grandad's favourites, porridge. Fresh coffee in the coffee pot, with maybe toast and marmalade. The table beautifully laid. One place for you, and one for Dad, another for your little lad. Then Dad cries, "Golly gosh, gee whiz! Oh, cripes, how hot this porridge is! Let's take a walk along the street until it's cool enough to eat." He adds, "An early morning stroll is good for people on the whole. It makes your appetite improve. It also helps your bowels to move." No proper wife would dare to question such a sensible suggestion. Above all, not at breakfast time, when men are seldom at their prime. No sooner are you down the road than Goldilocks, that little toad, that nosy, thieving little louse, comes sneaking in your empty house. She looks around. She quickly notes 3 bowls brimful with porridge oats, and while still standing on her feet, she grabs a spoon and starts to eat. I say again, how would you feel if you had cooked a lovely meal and some delinquent little tot broke in and gobbled up the lot? But wait, that's not the worst of it. Now comes the most distressing bit. You are, of course, a house-proud wife, and all your happy married life you have collected lovely things, like gilded cherubs wearing wings, and furniture by Chippendale, bought at some famous auction sale. But your most special, valued treasure, the piece that gives you endless pleasure, is one small children's dining chair, Elizabethan, very rare. It is in fact your joy and pride, passed down to you on Grandma's side. But Goldilocks, like many freaks, does not appreciate antiques. She doesn't care, she doesn't mind, and now she plonks her fat behind upon this dainty precious chair, and crunch! It busts beyond repair. A nice girl would at once exclaim, "Oh dear! Oh heavens! What a shame!" Not Goldie. She begins to swear. She bellows, "What a lousy chair!" and uses one disgusting word that luckily you've never heard. I dare not write it, even hint it. Nobody would ever print it. You'd think by now this little skunk would have the sense to do a bunk, but no, I very much regret she hasn't nearly finished yet. Deciding she would like a rest, she says, "Let's see which bed is best." Most educated people choose to rid themselves of socks and shoes before they clamber into bed. But Goldie did not give a shred. Her filthy shoes were thick with grime and mud and mush and slush and slime. Worst still, upon the heel of one was something that a dog had done. I say once more, what would you think if all this horrid dirt and stink was smeared upon your eiderdown by this revolting little clown? The famous story has no clues to show the girl removed her shoes. Oh, what a tale of crime on crime! Let's check it for a second time. Crime 1. The prosecution's case. She breaks and enters someone's place. Crime 2. The prosecutor notes. 3. She steals a bowl of porridge oats. Crime 3. She breaks a precious chair belonging to the baby bear. Crime 4. She smears each spotless sheet with filthy messes from her feet. A judge would say without a blink, 10 years hard labour in the clink. But in the book, as you will see, the little beast gets off scot-free, and tiny children near and far shout, "Goody good, hooray, hurrah! Poor darling Goldilocks!" They say, "Thank goodness that she got away." Myself, I think I'd rather send young Goldie to a sticky end. "Oh, Daddy!" cried the baby bear, "my porridge gone, it isn't fair." "Then go upstairs," the big bear said. "Your porridge is upon the bed, but as it's inside Mademoiselle, you'll have to eat her up as well." Oh dear, I think Goldilocks is in a bit of a pickle there, don't you? But she was naughty to steal things and to break things. You shouldn't do that to other people's things, should you, Arabella? No. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Arabella clearly had a lovely time, and I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. Can you wave bye-bye, Arabella? Bye-bye. Cheerio, everybody.